Now I'm going to install AccuTrack 2016 and let it open to a tutoring database, which it automatically will do the first time you open it. After I do that, I've got a older AccuTrack 2015 database out on a network share, so I'm going to update that database to version 2016. Now, by the way, if I have an older database, an older AccuTrack database, it's required that I update that database before I can use it with AccuTrack 2016. Now, by the way, once I've updated a database to AccuTrack 2016, my AccuTrack 2015 would still work with it. Of course, you want to install 2016 to get all the new features. But just in summation, I can run AccuTrack 2015 with an updated 2016 database. What I cannot do is run AccuTrack 2016 with a non-updated 16 database. So if it's an older than AccuTrack 2016, I can't use it until I update it. And I'm going to go through the update process in this video. Okay, so the first thing, I've got my folder Accu2016_dist showing. This is where my installer is, so I'm going to run setup.exe to install the software. And I'll click Next, read and accept the license agreement, click Next. Here I can put a user and organization information if I'd like, click Next. And I recommend the default path for a 64-bit PC. It'd be program files x86, Accu 2016. For a 32-bit, you would not have the x86. It'd just be C program files, Accu 2016. Click Next. Install for anyone who uses this computer. I recommend that. And now the installer will begin. Okay, now once that completes, I have a checkbox here that says launch the program. That's fine, so I'll click finish. And now you may notice it copied out some files very quickly. It needs those files to run. Also, it's pointing now to a tutoring sample database on its own local drive. Now the next screen that comes up says, do I have an activation code to enter? You will get that activation code when we send you the software. If you're not sure what it is, you can contact us. But you'll click yes, and then you'll enter the activation code that was given to you. You can just paste that in, click OK, and now AccuTrack will open. Okay, now I could log in and go look at my tutoring sample database if I want to, but I don't really need to, because what I want to do is update my real database out on my network. Okay. Now you should be able to get the database location from your older AccuTrack. If not, your IT would know, but typically it's a server out there. There may be a folder called Accu Files or something to that effect, and probably the database folder is going to be called Accu Data. Now out here, I'm on my network server here. I've got this Accu 15 files folder, and in it I have my database, my older 2015 database, and an associated data dictionary folder. Every database is going to have a data dictionary folder with it. Okay. Now let's go look at Accu Data for a second. And there's one file I'm looking for. It's called dataversion.inf. So I'm going to go find that file and open it with Notepad, which I have by default. And it tells me, among other things, that it's 14.0.0. Okay, now it's always one number different. Why that is, I don't know, but that means it's an AccuTrack 2015 database. Just make note of what that number is. Okay, now I'm going to go back and look at my data dictionary and look at its data version. Okay, you see that also says 14.0.0. Okay, but remember, I want to update my database to version 2016. How do I do that? Okay, well, I'll show you. I'm going to open my local file explorer. I'm going to go find where AccuTrack 2016 is installed. Remember, C program files or program files x86. Accu 2016 is my folder. Okay, and in here I also have a data dictionary. So let's take a look at that data dictionary. its data version says it's 15.0.0. Well, that's one higher than 14.0.0. So that's an AccuTrack 2016 data dictionary. So I can delete this one off my server, or I'll just rename it Data Dictionary 14, let's say. And now I'm going to copy in my new 15 data dictionary into that same level where my AccuData database is. Okay, so now if we look at the condition we have, remember, a 14.0.0 database and a 15.0.0 data dictionary. Okay, that's what we want in order to kick off the update. Now, what I'm going to do now is cheat a little bit, because remember, my AccuTrack is pointing to a tutoring sample database off its own drive, which it does when it opens. But that's not where I want to point it. I want to point it out to my database on my network, okay, which was AccuFiles, AccuData. So I'm going to get tricky and save that folder path because I know I'm going to need it. Okay, so anyway, back to my program files, Accu 2016 folder. In that folder, I have a program that's called setDataPath.exe. Okay, so I'm going to run that, and I want to stay in native mode since it's an AccuTrack database. Click Next. Excuse me. And here's the tutoring sample database that it's going to point to when it first opens. But what I'm going to do is paste in the path to my real AccuData, my database out on my network drive. I click Save, and it says must exit for changes to take effect. Well, that's fine. I'll X out of it. Okay, now I'm going to open AccuTrack 2016, and remember, it's pointing to a 14.0.0, which is really a 2015 database, an older database with a newer data dictionary. So let's open it and see what it does. Okay, and it says attempting to upgrade data files to latest version from 14 to 15, which is exactly what I want it to do, so I'll click OK. And what it's doing now is adding new tables to the database, altering the database structure accordingly for it to be able to run with AccuTrack 2016. So that process may take a few minutes depending on how much data you have. Okay, and it says operation finished successfully. Okay, I'll click Close. And it's asking again for my activation key. Well, sure, it may or may not do that, depending, but I'll put that in again. Okay, and this looks very similar to the other database. Probably it's a copy, but let's go look and see where it's pointing. So if I go to database, database location, see it's now out there on my share, it's my server. So it has updated itself to version 2016, 15.0.0, and it's ready to go. Now, just to prove to you, I could go, if I wanted to, go run an older version of AccuTrack, and I probably don't need to go through it, but it will run happily with an updated database. If the database was not updated, and I try to run AccuTrack 2016 against that database that had not been updated, then it's going to give me errors. The reason being it's looking for tables, it's looking for different columns in the database that don't exist yet because I haven't run the data updater. Okay, so that's all you need to do. Change your data dictionary to the latest version, point to that database you want to update, and then it'll realize that it needs to update, go through the process, and then your AccuTrack 2016 database is ready to go. You can install AccuTrack 2016 and point your various clients to that database folder, and you're ready to go.